And so I'm really excited to kick off this discussion. And you know what, Kathleen, I'd like to introduce you and bring you in first, ladies first. And I'd love to get your perspective on kind of how is this, this current situation affecting you, and what have you been doing to overcome those challenges?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, I would like to say thank you for the honor of being able to join Mitch and this entire panel. You guys are incredible, and I love you anyway, but
Yeah,
to
right
be able to
back
be a
at you.
part of this, I really appreciate it.
Of course.
It's obviously industry-wide. I think we've all slowed down a little bit. People are not coming in as much. We are adapting as best we can, offering our services, being here. I mean, I've offered to pick up groceries and things for
Yeah.
clients that, we do what we can. I think for me, my message is to try and stay positive through all of it. I know, I'm such a Debbie Downer all the time. So, if I can choose joy and help other people choose joy through all of this and kindness, I think for me, that is my focus for my team, my clients, anybody in the industry I have the fortune to touch throughout all of this. I think that staying positive and knowing that this too shall pass. And you know what? The really cool thing is so many of us have already been doing all of the things that we're
Yes.
saying, hey, we offer this and we do that. And I thought, wow, that's really cool that we do it all. So it's already there. We didn't really have to spin that much, did we?
No, isn't that something? I mean, it's just serendipitous. And it was kind of like how this summit came together. I mean, we thought, hey, we do this show, the digital shop talk. So we got the platform down. I mean, gosh, we're a digital company and we promote about, the digital shop. And so why wouldn't we? And I mean, it's just been incredible. Not only the execution internally from the AutoVitals people like Dustin and Lauren and Uva and John and everybody else, Bill and Chris, and I go on forever. But also from the participants and the panelists and everybody who's stepped up to participate and attend today. I mean, we had close to 1,000 registrations. We've carried about 500 people on average regularly through this entire day. And it's inconceivable. It's inconceivable even 2 weeks ago, to be honest with you, that we would have that type of turnout and engagement, and the chat's just been blowing up. And I really think we're in a new paradigm, right? I think that there's been a kind of an eye-opening across the country with this shutdown to say, do I really need to go in person? Do I really need to, go to a brick and mortar business or to or even from a learning, do I need to go to campus on college? Because e-learning is so effective now, right? And these types of collaborations, and in some of the earlier panels, we've been really kind of thinking outside of the box a little bit and talking about things like, incorporating this type of technology, this Zoom, right, into the AutoVitals solution, just in case, and for times like that, and for people who might prefer that. Just really interesting to see how this is going to kind of shake out. And what opportunities are going to be out there for us in this kind of new paradigm. What are your thoughts on that, Kathleen?
I tell you, I think so. I'm the extrovert, and the memes that are out there. Check on your extroverts because we are not okay. I love the fact that I can look you in the face. I can have a conversation with you and feel like we are connecting.
Yeah.
I've been doing some Facebook videos for my clients as well. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at the screens up here. I've been doing Facebook videos just to stay connected to my people. So for me, I still need that human interaction, but this is a very, very close number 2.
Isn't it?
So I don't feel isolated. I don't feel like I am being cut off from the rest of the universe. So this is, and to be able to learn as this comes through, I really think it's fantastic. And I think we will. I was listening on my way home. I'm at home right now. I was listening on my way home to the last panel, and I remember thinking that this is something that I think a lot of our practices will continue to carry through.
Yes.
I think we're learning, even the I'm going to call us the older group, the old school people, we're learning on a curve so quick now how the younger generation wants to be communicated with, know your customer, right? So
Yes.
we're getting that. And I think that a lot of our customers who weren't accustomed to this are going to bring up on the curve. So I think industry wide, I think we have an opportunity with this to come out on top, change the face of the reputation that we've all been fighting against for so long, to show that we are stewards in our community today. We do care. We care about the relationships. It's more than just transactional, at least, and I think that's what so many of us, the message we've all tried to spread. And with this platform, think of all the people that you're going to reach that aren't able to go to the conferences, or think that that's a waste of time, or they can't shut their shops down.
Yes.
Those of us that consistently show up, we're the ones that know. We drank the Kool-Aid, we know the secret sauce, right? But think of all the people that we're going to reach and lift up with the rising tide by making this kind of a format available to all of them. And what we
Yes.
can do as an industry as a whole by opening up and keeping this kind of platform. So I'm super excited about it.
No, see, I already feel better just listening to you, Kathleen. I got to tell you, we weren't lying. You talk to Kathleen, I'm ready to get out there and make it happen.
Woo!
Right now.
Let's go.
Let's go do this. No, it's fantastic. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? And Adam, we were talking with Adam, and last week we had him on the show, and and it was like an epiphany almost, because gosh, everybody's so down, and oh my gosh, and unsure. And Adam says, hey, I got a choice to make. I can sit here with my head in my hands and pout, or I can get ready to improve my business and work on my business and learn and take this time to improve. And then when this thing blows over, I'm going to come out gangbusters. And so that's what we're doing. We just took it to the next level, and we've invited all of our friends across the nation to join us. And it's been a fantastic experience. JR, I want to welcome you as well, buddy. How's things working out in Concours? I mean, what are you seeing? Actually, I should say Concours and Asian Auto Tech. And I think you got a third location, Airport, right? That you're opening up pretty quick.
Right, that's right. We opened it up about 90 days ago, and we're actually staying pretty strong. This week has been definitely a little bit of more of a dip. Last week we were still normal, but this week definitely probably running at 60% capacity from the previous weeks. Nevertheless, I got great guys. They actually banded together, and they came up with they came up to me and said, hey, boss, I'm ready to do whatever you want me to do. If you want me to take a week off, we're going to rotate 4 days. We're ready, whatever it takes to keep the doors open, which is refreshing, because as a boss, that's the last call you want to make, send somebody home. But I think I created a great culture, and the guys are responding great. Everything that we've been doing has worked out, and now we're digging a little deeper to get some cars in here and keep us busy. But nevertheless, we're optimistic, and it's I told the guys like a couple of days ago, this might be humanity's darkest of times, and we gotta be the light that shines, right? We gotta get them out of the tunnel, and we gotta stay positive, and we cannot give in to the news, and we just gotta keep pounding our way out of this, whatever it takes, right?
Yeah, buddy. Couldn't have said it any better, and I don't know if you caught the intro when I was bragging about you a little bit ago, but what we want to talk about is that learning to lead. And I think that in this time, it's more critical than ever, right? Because your work is evident in what you just said, is that you're obviously have gotten it figured out, and you're leading a strong team. Why? Because they're right there next to you. It's when the adversity hits is when if you've done it right, you've been effective, and you're continuing to lead through that adversity, and your team is going to be that barometer for you. They're going to tell you, have you done it right, or have you failed? Because, well, they're all down the road. Where'd they go? And so because we've told you this, JR. I mean, you've just always been an impressive guy to us. Just a humble guy. You just make it look like it's super simple all the time. We don't understand it. Nobody else understands it. You just, every time I talk to you, it's let's find out what new success JR's having today. Why not, right? And so that means that, I doubt if you went to Auto Shop Owner Academy, and I doubt if you went to, I don't even think you were grew up in the business. How did you get to that point where you've gotten this figured out to the point where, I mean, you're in California and this economy opening up more locations and you've got this team. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen a new staff member, to be honest with you. I think you got your original crew. Would you guys all go to high school together?
No, we didn't go to high school.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
but I do have guys that have been with me 12 years and 10 years and on and on. And I'm just incredibly lucky. However, I've always been a people person. I've always done what's fair, what's right, even if it costs me, you know, and I think people see through that. If you're just genuinely interested in other people, genuinely interested in their success, not just interested, I'm talking genuinely interested in their success. And people can see that, you know, they can see right through the bull crap, and they can see that you really mean what you say. And when you do what you said, that's just like, this guy's a real deal, and we're gonna get through it. I've always been a people person. I enjoy people. I enjoy serving, and that's probably my greatest attribute. You know, I'm not the boss that just says we're gonna go that way. I'm the boss. How can I help you? How can I help the team go that way? If you're underperforming, how can I help you perform better? That's gonna be the angle that I'm always gonna take. Because I think that's the right one. And when we think of our, you know, I want everybody to think back of what you consider a great leader in your lifetime. Was it one that yelled at you in the morning so awesome that he was a great leader, or that punished you or something like that? No, it was somebody that inspired you and motivated you and just made you feel part of the team and give you a purpose and all those things, right? And sometimes the worst leader you can think of is somebody that made you mad, that didn't communicate to you, that was unfair, that lied, that cheated, and all those things. And I think it's pretty obvious when you're a good leader, you inspire, you made others feel better, and you lead by example, and you serve, you don't demand. Wow. You know, that's my take on that. And it's worked for me. I'm a people person, and that's what I do.
That's deep, brother. So if I'm catching it right, is you serve, you come out to say, how can I serve? How can I help my team grow? How can I serve my customer? And then your team emulates that leadership. And then they also get up every day and say, how can I serve? How can I serve this business? How do I serve my family? How do I serve my customer?
Absolutely.
And we're all on the same page like that. Well, then that's when the magic happens, right?
And the key word, I think, is genuinely, right? Because you cannot fake this stuff.
Yes.
You cannot fake this stuff. It's gotta come from right here, right?
Right there, buddy. No, that's awesome. So Kathleen, I want to get you in. And Mitch, what I want to do is I'm going to listen to Kathleen a little bit. I want to hear her story on how she developed. And then I want to get kind of the wisdom from Mitch to come on top of that and give some guidance. So Kathleen, you know,
Can I just say something before you get started? Yes, I think it's an important point here. It has to do with something that JR just said. And I think it's the difference between being interested and being involved.
Yep.
You know, being interested is passive.
Yes.
Being involved is active.
Yes.
And I think that's a critical component, and it shouldn't be lost on anybody that's listening. Because management or leadership is all about the active and voluntary participation of other people, right?
Yes.
And they're not gonna follow unless you can lead. So
no, that is fantastic. And how do you make
that's it? I'm going mute now.
No, that is so awesome. How do you make that active? How do you make it, instead of being interested, into actually participating in that leadership or that development of that staff member? How do you make it? How do you take an active role? And I would say that it's probably by setting expectations and setting goals and being clear and transparent on what those expectations are. Would you agree?
If you're asking me, I would say that there are certain elements that are there. You have to have vision, but vision by itself is not adequate. You have to communicate that vision clearly, concisely, and often. So communication is critical. You have to be adaptable. You have to be able to shift because everything around you is changing constantly. I did this for 52 years. I can't tell you how much change I saw in that 52 years. And I monitor the industry very carefully now because I'm still writing. You have to have self-control. You can't really, you can't be delusional enough to think that you're going to be able to control the actions of other people unless you control your own actions. And I'm sure that there are times that JR wants to bite his lower lip till it bleeds, or that Kathleen comes in and wants to tear her hair out. I mean, I know that I don't have any hair because I kept going like that.
Pour it all out already.
You have to be able to manage relationships. You have to be creative. You have to be transparent in everything that you do, because the people that you want to follow you, like your children, will watch what you do before they listen to what you say.
Yes.
And I think that level of honesty is critical. So those things are you've got to project honesty. You've got to be decisive. And you've got to be cautious. I mean, you can see the future clearly, but you've got to keep, you've got to be adaptable to what's going on around you. You got to be cautious, and you've got to be able to stay positive when everything around you is difficult.
Yep.
So
it's so critical to be able to keep that even keel, right? Because he keeps all the troops from freaking out and running for the hills.
Yeah, two of the biggest problems I had in business were I thought everybody understood what I wanted, what that vision was, and I didn't do a good job of communicating it clearly.
Hired a bunch of mind readers, did you?
Yeah, I thought I did.
You wish.
It was so clear to me. I mean, it was absolutely clear to me, and I'm a lousy card player. I mean, I have too many tells. So consequently, I would wear a lot of the times I would wear my emotions on my sleeve, and I wasn't really good at masking them, and that was problematical for me. So knowing, I wish I knew then what I know now.
Yes. Well, that's why we have you on, so you can relay that stuff to us, so we don't make those same mistakes.
What I've been trying to do for the last 30 years.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. So Kathleen, let me ask you, so last time I had you on, I mean, it was incredible. I mean, I think that the show went an hour. We went way over. We had you on with Kim.
Me?
Huh?
I said me?
Yeah, no way, right?
No way.
And I just thought, that you were perfect to have on to here, because I started thinking to myself, what a struggle that you had to go through. And Kim's story was so inspiring also. I mean, really starting an auto shop in her driveway with a guy from down the street or whatever, however that thing worked out. And it's just at the time, right? And you'd said something that still sticks to me, and it was so profound. And you talked about how folks would come into the business and they would look right past you and they'd say, is there somebody here that I can talk to that can help me out? And they would discount you on site without any other knowledge, and how challenging that has to be to manage a group of people in this industry when you have that type of kind of perception and reception from the customers even that come into the business. How did you overcome that?
That's probably one of my favorite comments, and by favorite, I don't mean that I like it. It's the one that probably irked me the most, and I had to learn, like Mitch said, not to let my Irish unleash on a client. That fiery female redhead Irish girl. Woo! They used to say, "How can I help you?" Yeah, I want to speak to somebody who knows something. And I will tell you, for me, that took self-control, and it took confidence in my ability and my to give them grace, first of all,
Yes.
and say, I do know, how about you give me a shot at it? And if I don't know, I want to learn with you. And you know, I get that question less and less frequently now, which is really neat. But I have had the opportunity to speak to and coach some other, I hate to say young ladies, but because I'm not that as much anymore. Dang it, I'm getting older. But to coach some of the younger women, especially in this industry, and say, you know, you are an authority. You just have to retrain people and clients. And it's not just this industry, it's any job, if you think about it, man, woman, indifferent. You know, I ran into a young man that works at Sephora, and you know, people discount him walking in the door when he says, hey, how can I help you? Yeah, no, I want to talk to this lady. Why is he any less of an authority than I am in automotive? You know, so I think maintaining a positive attitude, understanding that people don't know. It's like when they come in and ask you what your labor rate is. They don't know what else to ask you. They don't know unless you educate them and you take the time to invest in that relationship with your client, your employee, your mentor, your coach, your fellow shop owner down the street. It's all about what your strengths are and combining that with their strengths, and really developing a personal relationship no matter where you're at. You know, JR nailed it. It is about being genuinely invested.
Yes.
And you can't fake that.
Yes.
In any platform. And so, you know, I mean, I what a great panel you've put together here. These two are incredibly amazing people that I follow and watch from the sidelines. And I keep saying my theme through all of this, my mantra in my head is fear and love cannot live in the same place. Fear and faith cannot live in the same place right now. We have to be beacons of light, hope, cultivate relationships, and genuinely invest in our employees, our clients, and our colleagues right now. Yes. More than any other time. It's really important that we invest in ourselves and each other. Yes. Genuinely. Just like JR, great word, man, great word. Genuinely, because you can't fake it.
You can't fake it. And they always get found out, right? And that investment is starting here. I mean, look at everybody who's come in here today, you know, maybe expected to be at ATI Super Conference or at some of the other shows that have canceled and thought, well, there goes the trade show season. But they're taking the time to come in here today to do exactly that and invest and even in these uncertain times, who knows what's going to happen and when this thing's going to blow over. But you know what? I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to stay optimistic, and I'm going to take this time and I'm going to invest in myself and my business and my people so that when we do come out of this thing, we come out of it highly successful. We come out leading the pack. And that's, you know, really critical. And so again, just a huge shout out to everybody who's taken the time to come in, everybody who's participating. I mean, I've been watching the chat and it's just blowing up. I mean, the takeaways and some of the ideas and some of the, you know, really we're changing lives up in here. I mean, I hate to sound, you know, kind of like dopey, but I mean, really what I'm reading here is, you know, it's going to come. And I mean, just even having this thing open and folks are coming in and getting to hear another perspective. And like we were saying earlier, see that there's other humans that are alive and, you know, they're not all in
it's not the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it's just been inspirational and motivational to people. But, and that's really fantastic. Let's talk about, because there's another thing that you've had as a challenge in your life. And that was, you know, I know you rehired, your ex, right? And you had to lead. And I mean, talk about another incredible challenge. And I think a lot of people probably have that because we tend to be a more family oriented type business. And it's much harder, I think, to establish a leadership role with family members, right? How do you approach that?
No doubt.
Yeah.
You know, same thing. It's, we both give each other a lot of grace. Obviously, it's a delicate relationship, especially with what we've been through. You know, he used to own the shop with me and he ran it. I was never even there. And so first of all, to ignore his talent would be complete ignorance on my part. He is probably one of the most talented technicians I have ever had the pleasure to set my eyes on. I call him the car whisperer. He puts his hands on the hood. The car tells him what's wrong with it, especially if it's electrical. You know, please don't tell him I said that, though. Kid's a big head. He can't get out of the building. And so, you know, you got to open bay doors to let him out. And no, he's not. He's incredibly humble. You know, but we for the most part have established, you know, boundaries and guidelines that we don't cross. We're business when we're in the building, and we are friends and co-parents outside the building. But respect is a huge piece of it, whether he is my ex or he is any other person that works for me or with me. You know, I have a pretty open kind of shop where I take a lot of feedback. I don't know everything. I don't promise to know everything. Lifelong learning is my top notch there, you know. So I will tell you, occasionally I have to flex the owner muscle and be like, please just listen to me, you know, just give me a shot. And I really promise you, I know what I'm doing here. Just, you know, it's my gamble. If I'm wrong, then who loses at the end of the day? I do, not you.
Yes.
And so we've learned to establish respect there. And I'm fortunate that he is, and all of my employees are receptive to the fact that there is one constant in my shop, and that is change. I am all about shaking up the snow globe and, you know, rolling the dice and saying, hey, let's try this new thing. And I know you might hate it, but we're going to do this for 30 days. And if you hate it, we'll quit. We haven't quit anything yet. So, you know, shopware, DVI, you name it, we're doing it. It's super awesome. Technology moves so fast, Tommy, you know, if you don't stay up on it, you're going to just totally drown yourself out. And where are we going to be? Got to keep it fun.
Yep.
So
No.
that's also the key. Fun. Keep it fun.
Yes.
So, but yeah, do we battle occasionally? Absolutely. I should set up a webcam in the shop sometimes. My service advisor goes, okay, you two, I vividly see why you're divorced. Go away, go to your corners. I'd be lying if I told you that didn't happen every once in a while, but it does. So.
Oh, that's amazing. So Mitch, you grew up in a family business. I mean, do you relate? What advice would you have for Kathleen with your experience, you know, 50 years in a family business?
I worked with my dad for 38 years and my mom for 40. I was fortunate enough to. I can tell you, you might win an argument with your partner, but you'll never win an argument with your father. They pull rank, and it was frustrating. I mean, I really often thank him. I've got pictures of him. I'm surrounded by pictures of him right now in my office. I thank him often because I probably would never have become the writer I did without the frustration of not being able to implement things in my own shop that I was trying to teach other shop owners to do. But I learned very early that the wisdom of experience is invaluable, and that he wasn't as dumb as I thought he was when I was younger. And he got a lot smarter, probably with my help, as I got older. And it was great. I mean, there were times when it was incredibly frustrating, and I can really relate to a lot of the things that Kathleen was talking about a minute ago. But realistically, you have to establish rules. There was a point in time where my brother, my father, and myself were in the shop together with my mother in the office. And we actually had to go ahead and establish very, very clear job descriptions, written job descriptions.
Yeah.
And really watch each other very, very carefully to ensure that none of us stepped outside whatever our clear area of responsibility was. And we stayed out of each other's, you know, we stayed out of each other's territory. And when we did, it worked. And when we didn't, things fell apart.
Yeah. No, that's a great point, right? That's great advice, is that if you are in that situation, you are working with family, or you're new, you know, you got a fresh crew or something like that, is do exactly that. Be transparent, set those expectations, and set those guidelines, set those boundaries, and then commit to them and reinforce them, and just hold each other accountable. And then, you know, you're leading. That's the beginning of leadership. JR, have you worked with family in your business? I know, I think your wife is participating to some degree.
Yeah, yeah. I'm lucky enough that I have a great wife, and she's also a accountant by trade. So she used to work for banks and
I know you.
colleges and things like that, and then at some point she came to work for us, and she does our books and HR and all that stuff, and it works real well. It's for the most part, we behave like coworkers at work, uh, unless we go to lunch together, which is often. We used to anyway. Um, um, but it works for us. We treat each other like coworkers when we're at work, and then we get home and we're trying to talk about work when we're at home, and that's kind of like we got to have a sane place. We got to be able to escape the madness at some point, right?
Yes.
And that is at home, and I get along great. I wouldn't have it any other way. She's awesome to be around, and she enjoys this as well. As far as my parents or something like that, no, they didn't grow up in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and so that's great advice, right? He's got to keep it separated. And, it's a setting those a firm boundary. Here's your role and here's your job description, and document that and commit to it. And then, like you said, set those boundaries. And while we're at work, we're working. And while we're at home, well, she's probably getting you off the couch to go run around the block a couple times. Right, buddy?
That's right. That's right.
Whoa.
That's
Not
right.
sure what he means by that.
Oh, no, I mean,
my wife started running. She started doing half marathons and things like that. And then she dragged me to run a half marathon. Actually, it was Uba who got me into my first event a couple years ago. I did the cycling event in Santa Barbara with the Out of Vitals group, and that was a lot of fun. Then my wife started doing some running, and then I got involved. And before you knew it, I've run 2 half marathons by now, to date. And it's actually pretty nice. I like it, and I'm going to commit to running it, not because I love running, but because it holds me accountable to stay fit, watch what I eat, and work out, because it's an important part of all of our lives, right? Especially nowadays, we got to stay healthy and in shape, because that's just got to be harder to kill.
Yeah. No, and it's like you said, it's a great way for you to get out and spend time with your wife and outside of the work, and talking about, trying to breathe and stuff like that, trying to help. How much farther did you say we're going? Right. That kind of thing. But no,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a great way to bond, and it's a great way to really, establish those boundaries. By the way, Kathleen, we have, a little feedback for you from Miriam Cordova. She's saying you're awesome. She's a female GM in the automotive industry, and she's great to have somebody to relate to and be inspired by. So make sure before you guys leave, we add our contact information into the chat, so that folks can reach out to you and connect with you through social or directly, however you want to leave that contact information. And of course, anybody who's in the audience and listening, we're pretty active on the Facebook forum. And so you can always reach out that way and get a hold of folks and connect and bond that way as well. But thank you very much. It was fantastic. And Kathleen, would you like to respond to Miriam?
Oh, I saw that when it came up in the chat, and I just feel like I go to work every day. I'm one of those people that don't do super well with the praise, but I will tell you, I look up to so many incredible women in this industry. One was on the last panel, Carolyn Cocolette, and I mean, just anybody in the Women in Auto Care for Sure forum. Those women changed my life, and to be able, I'm available to anybody. Please send me a message. I'm not always good at getting back. I'm also a mom of 2 teenage daughters. But I will tell you, it is incredibly humbling to be able to inspire somebody. That's my goal every day, is to make somebody a little bit hopefully inspire somebody to be a little better than they were when they woke up this morning. So I know that's my goal every day. So.
That's awesome. So in addition to Carolyn, and if folks don't know, Carolyn is a shopware and also Luscious Garage, right? Just a fantastic operator. She always has been. And just really just a leader in the industry, especially from the female perspective and from hybrid. Really Luscious Garage is really just a fantastic operation. Who else would you say is kind of, who do you look up to or who are leaders that you aspire to be like or to emulate?
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys made the connection between myself and Kim Hickey, Mary Steele from ASA. Who knew the three of us live within 30 miles of each other? Yeah. That's crazy. We could blow Florida off the map. I'm just saying.
I know, right?
Look out. Besides, of course, Carolyn, Bogey Leitner, Amy Matnat, Judy Zimmerman Walter, the list goes on and on. Jamie Carlson, this year's female shop owner of the year. She is a rock star. If you have not had the opportunity to talk to her, she's a hoot and a half. You think I'm fun to talk to. You should talk to Jamie. So, I mean, there's just so many. It is, it's so cool. I remember thinking that I was all alone, to be honest with you. My mom was in the television broadcasting industry when I was a kid. So being a female in a male dominated world was not something that I grew up afraid of. I have 3 older brothers and 5 older boy cousins. I'm the only girl in the whole family. So I prepared my whole life for this kind of crazy, so but to have gone to my first conference and be inspired by these amazing women that are not just shop owners, but that are in supply chain and manufacturing and the in the executive side of things, and to think, man, they're out there killing it every day, and it's really cool. And not to discount the men that are in this industry as well. I am constantly in awe of some of the things that even, in my coaching group, there's a rock star shop owner in Olmsted, Ohio. His name is Corey Avaldi. Man, look out for him. He is ready to set the world on fire. And he will tell you 150 times he's only 33. So, he is, I'm like, shh, be quiet with that. But no, it's so invigorating for somebody like me to watch somebody that age get it so quick, because by the time he's my age, he's just going to be setting the world on fire.
That's 2 more years, right?
Exactly. Thank you. Whoa, now we see why he's still married. Thank you, JR. It's the Florida humidity. It keeps all the wrinkles away.
It's working for you. It's working for you, no doubt about it.
Nice.
Yes, beautiful. Mitch, how about you? In your career, who's inspired you as a leader?
Wow. I had the opportunity to speak at the first Congress of Automotive Repair and Service, the first CARS, and he's no longer with us, but there was an accountant that was part of what they called the Duffy Vinay Institute back a million years ago. His name was Dick Vinay, and he specialized in automotive service businesses. And I was speaking at that event. That it was the "Give Me Your Tired and Broken Cars" speech, the one that started my career, and had the opportunity to be exposed to some of these industry leaders, and they were very few at the time. It wasn't like now. Yeah. They were like cactuses blooming in the desert. They were, you had to really travel to find them.
Yeah, at night.
and Dick Vinay was one of those guys, and I'll never forget this, because he walked to the podium in a white gi with a black belt and talked about it didn't have to be this way. And I remember going back to the shop, and I was like a wild man. It was really scary for people that knew me, because I came back like a lunatic. And I told my dad, I went into the office and I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're raising our shop labor rate 20%. All right. We're going, we're going from $30 an hour. That's how long ago it was, people. Take a deep breath. From $30 an hour to $36 an hour. And I don't care if we go out of business. I just don't care. I can fix cars and I'm good at it. That means I could be a plumber. I could be an electrician. I could be anything I want to be. So we're either going to go out of business or we're going to go ahead and make 20% more an hour.
Wow.
And I was ready. I had all the arguments together, and I went into the shop, and my dad couldn't stop me. I raised the labor rate, despite what he said. We're going to go out of business. I said, I don't care. I don't care. And I was ready. I was ready to go ahead and argue with the first customer. And the first day went by, nobody even noticed. Nobody said a word. Not a word. And I said, these dumb customers, how dumb could they be? They didn't even know I raised their prices. And the next day I went in it, nobody noticed. And then I went and I changed that. And I said, you dumb shop owner, how could you be undervaluing your services that much for that long? How much money did you leave on the table? Yeah. And that was, it's the opportunity to learn from everyone you meet, and to be open and aware and to be humble.
Yes.
To understand what humility is all about, and recognize that everybody has got something that they can teach you, and to listen, and not to be fearful, not to be afraid of. I learned a lot about, over the course of a lifetime as a shop owner, I learned a lot about fear and transcending fear. Every time you want to hire somebody, every time you want to lay somebody off, every time there's a crisis, and there have been many. So you learn a lot about yourself, and you learn about handling fear. And you don't live without fear. You learn how to transcend it. You learn how to go ahead and rise above it. And going, when the doctor turns around and says, go home and get your stuff together, get your house in order. We talked about this before. You learn a little bit about yourself, and you recognize that you have a choice. You can either go home and crawl up in a ball and die, or you can go ahead and say to yourself, I'm going to live every second that I have left as fully as I can. And I'm going to fight this thing as much as I can, and take every chance, take every shot that's offered to me. And here I am, rolling up on a year post-transplant, and it's, I know how lucky I am, but it gave me an opportunity. It gave me this blinding clarity to recognize that I don't have to put up with this crap anymore. If somebody comes and tries to blow smoke my way, I can say, nah, I haven't got time for you. And I think those are valuable lessons. And I don't think that you have to be, you don't have to be critically ill. You don't have to be confronted with a chronic, terminal, incurable illness to learn those lessons. You just have to be awake and aware of what's going on around you, and then recognize that this, Tom, Uva, JR, Kathleen, this is all everybody that's watching, this is what we got. This moment, this second right now is what we got. And what we do with it is our legacy. It's what we leave behind. And we can blow it, or we can elevate ourselves and everyone around us to be more, to do more. And what a great legacy that would be to leave behind, don't you think? I mean, something I've been working at for a long time.
I think you've done that. Yeah. No, it's incredible. JR, thank you very much, Mitch. I mean, that's super inspirational. And, there's a lot of responses there in chat just saying thank you. How about you, JR? Who has been some leaders that you look up to and try to emulate in your business?
Well, right off the top, when I was very young, watching my dad interact with others, he was very giving. He was very empathetic to them, and he just he gave a lot. He still has a farm, and he treats his employees very, very well, and he's just very empathetic. I remember he bought a truck, a really old truck, and money was always kind of scarce, and we went downtown and bought a radio with speakers, and he gave it to the driver of that truck because he wanted to make him feel good, like that was his truck. And that kind of thing, just you remember that stuff, that hey, you got to be nice to your people. But in the industry, I used to work for Mountain View Tire, a Goodyear giant Goodyear dealership in Southern California, and there was one of the owners his name was Mike Mitzos. It's the son of the owner, and they own like 50 stores. I mean, this is a mega company. And Mike will come over to our store, and he would go out of his way to say hello to everybody, even the new guy. He would come over and say like, "JR, what's his name?" And in secretive, right? And it was like, "Oh, that's Johnny." I'm like, "Oh, right on." And then he'll go over there and make him feel like $1,000,000. "What's up, Johnny? I'm Mike. Nice to meet you." And I thought that was a golden moment, to like this guy. He owns 40, 50 stores. He comes to the store maybe twice a month. I mean, twice, I don't know, once a quarter or something like that. He knows my name, but nobody else. And he goes out of his way to make everybody feel so good. I mean, that was more PR than you can ever buy right there. So that, and I used to go to, Goodyear used to send us to classes. There was a teacher by the name of Bill McRae at the Goodyear Center. Man, that guy gave classes, and every time you got out of the class, you wanted to go back to work because you were so inspired. You were so moved and motivated. And that was, and his spiel was customer service, just customer first, customer service. And that just gave you a great attitude. And I think that's what built me between my dad, Mike, and Bill McRae. Really gave me that perspective that people first. And that's where I learned that.
It must have stuck. I mean, it's just inspirational that you can even put your finger on it like that and say, here are those kind of, mentors, and I'm sure there was a lot of critical decision making along that path that you had to take, and you were raised to make the right decision. Yeah.
Well, and it goes a long ways. I mean, how crappy would it be that I go to Costco and I'm trying to hide from a customer. I'm trying to hide from an ex-employee or a neighbor or a fellow shop owner in town. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty proud when I walk through Costco and there's nobody that I have to hide from.
You got that swagger.
Right. And it's like, I've always done the right thing. So I'm good.
You learned it.
I got it. That's so funny that you say that, because I used to say for years that I didn't want anybody throwing produce at me when I walked through Vons.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny that you said that. That's great, JR.
Changed, right? Times have changed. And you're right. Probably back then there was a lot of that stuff, because we just didn't understand. We didn't communicate as effectively. And now, hold your head high, right?
That's right.
Who has inspired you? Who do you look up to? Because I really want to hear this one as a leader. Oh, we don't have good audio.
No.
It's all like, maybe it's your headphones aren't charged or something if they're wireless. Because it's buzzing.
You put him on a spot. He may have done that on purpose.
Yeah.
Frank.
Get the little dump button over there.
How is now?
Yes.
Oh,
Can I name people on the panel, or is that not
Of course
allowed?
you can.
Be careful. John just showed up.
nice,
I've been
Frank.
parked out there for a bit. Fishing.
It's all orchestrated. When I founded Outer Vitals, that was a little crazy because I left a, well-paid job at a big company and started from nothing. And one of the first guys I met was Mitch. And I don't know how many meetings he and I had about this industry. I mean, I haven't told anybody that story, but I went into his shop and said, "Why don't you say this to the customer?" And Mitch said, "Hey, Frank, can you, move aside and let Uwe do this for a while?" Right? I will never forget that, Mitch. I don't know whether you remember that, and really getting the fabric of the customer interaction, and go away from, everything is digital, although it is, was really one of the most learning experiences for me. So thank you, Mitch.
You're welcome. And I do remember that moment, by the way.
No, I'll tell you, being part of AutoVital, especially in the early, we grew up on a steady diet of Mitch Schneider stories, and so I feel like I knew you, Mitch, way before I ever met you, because
I'm so sorry.
No, it was my pleasure, man. But no, seriously, it's because of the stories and the inspiration and just how much you've inspired Uwe, really. I mean, especially in the beginning, it'd be like, Mitch Schneider wouldn't do it that way. It was impressive.
When you find somebody who is as passionate as Uwe was about helping the industry, recognizing where we were and seeing so clearly where we needed to be, and willing to invest his soul into that completely. I may have been one of the few people in the very beginning that saw that, because Uwe can be a bit overwhelming at times. But
Never.
The one thing that was always clear was his passion for the people in this industry. And I feel very, very fortunate to have played a role in that. And it's made a difference. It's making a difference. And I think that's critical. And I think that continuing that legacy is critical. And things like this, virtual is becoming the new real. So when you can go ahead and put together a conference like this without everybody having to get on an airplane, I mean, I couldn't do this any other way.
Yeah.
So
we wanted you to come to conference, matter of fact, and this is just right around the corner, right? Back in January. But it's, so no, it is a way. Yeah. I mean, as it seems like it's impersonal or we're farther apart, but we can come closer together because
we are as impersonal as we choose to be, or as personal as we would like to be.
Great.
We've got far more in common than we have that separates us. And I think these opportunities are invaluable. So first of all, thank you.
Very welcome.
Thank John. Thank everybody here for making this possible. I'm sure that I can't wait to see the early part of the day. So
yeah.
Go back and look at that.
Oh, it's strong. I mean, the whole thing is just incredible. And really, to that point, I just really want to give a shout out and a big thank you for everybody who participated, all the presenters, all of our industry partners,